Good morning, everyone. My name is Mighty Stream. I'm going to do your October the 20th spiritual principle of day in a meditation. I hope that you are doing well this morning. The title of today's meditation, Anonymity is our spiritual foundation. Our spiritual foundation is not a question of whether we know each other's last names. It's that we accept each other regardless of who we are and what we have done. That comes from the Guiding Principles book, Tradition 12, Opening Reflection. What's in a name? Well, anonymous is half of ours. In not using our last names, we end up sharing the same one, Addict. But practicing anonymity doesn't end with a last initial. A principle can't be that simple, not when it's a word that's so hard to pronounce. Go ahead, try it. Anonymity. See, the struggle is real for so many of us. Because anonymity is, according to our 12 traditions, the spiritual foundation of all our traditions, understanding what it means and how to practice it is essential to our ability to work with, relate to, and love each other unconditionally. Our spiritual foundation is the very rock we're all standing on. A member wrote, but any rock can be pounded into sand by relentless force. A slight here, a direct insult or backhanded compliment there, and on and on. Anonymity ensures equity among us, and we can't have unity without it. None of us is too bad or too good for NA. We don't merely tolerate each other's differences and ignore our difficult past. Instead, we honor and embrace the people we are today. We do our darnest to rise above personality differences and have a bad day reactions and having bad day reactions. We give each other the benefit of the doubt, roll up our sleeves in unity, and get to work. Acceptance doesn't mean we endorse each other's every action. There's space for all of us at the NA table, but we must hold ourselves and each other accountable. Anonymity requires that we all have equal access to the message. So when a member's behavior prevents that from happening or otherwise interrupts the atmosphere of recovery, we need to be clear. You are welcome. Your behavior is not. We can't expect ourselves to practice the unconditional love aspect of anonymity perfectly. But we can't let that stop us from ensuring that every addict who comes to our meeting has access to a message of recovery, no matter who they are or what they have done or perhaps will do. Today, I aim to give my fellow addicts the benefit of the doubt. Practicing anonymity means I have faith that we can all grow, personalities and past aside. It also means I'll get better at pronouncing it over time. Let's take a moment of silence, followed by the we version of Serenity Prayer. Moment of silence now, please. Thank you. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things that we cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Anonymity is our spiritual foundation for all our traditions. It is a lot greater than just not using last names. The true intent is to make sure that everyone who wants to access the program of recovery is able to do so, regardless of who they are, what type of work they do, what we know about them or don't know about them, what they've done in the past, or who their connections were. This spiritual principle, right, of anonymity takes that all away. And some of us use it lightly. We take it lightly. I remember one man, he used to come to meetings and he would talk about the problem with that is that I don't know anyone's last name. So when your buddy from the meetings passes away, how do you find them in the paper? How do you find them in the hospital to visit them? Right. And that was a good point. But typically what happens is those subgroups of relationships that develop outside of the meeting room. At some point in time, those last names become known, right? Because generally, when you're hanging out with someone every day or you're doing coffee with them every week, you don't mind them knowing your last name. That's why this is saying it's much bigger than that. A spiritual principle cannot just come down to using a last initial. It's much larger than that. And that is what we forget sometimes. So today, as you go forward and you're practicing how to say anonymity, right? As you practice that, just really practice what it means. Allowing others to come into the meeting and accept them without being concerned about what type of work they do or if they work. If they bring behavior that's not acceptable, make sure they know that behavior is not acceptable. You're welcome here, but that behavior is not. We have too much at stake. We have too much of a legacy to live up to, which is to maintain an atmosphere of recovery at all of our meetings, not just some, including area. It doesn't matter. Where we're gathered together, the atmosphere of recovery should always be prevalent. My name is MightyStream. I've enjoyed talking to you today. Well, I mean, I'm not well, right? So I've struggled to breathe through this. So in that sense, talking has been difficult. But spending time with you is everything. Have a beautiful day on purpose.